Thank you all so much. As she mentioned, I'm Darren Herder. I owner, operate, barber, everything else, custodian of affiliated barbers. My shop is actually located, if you guys are familiar with the Crossroads Shopping Center right here. What's down there? The Ross, TJ Maxx, movie theater. We're actually 2 doors down from FedEx, so right down the street. So yeah, so I'll just kind of get into it. First of all, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Look for opportunities to share any knowledge I can if it can help. So, anybody in here thinking about starting their own business by chance? Real quick, what kind of business?
Long-term consulting. I think like small business consulting.
Okay.
But that's a while down the road. I need to get experience in that area first.
Okay. So you think you need experience in that area, huh?
Well, I would like to know how to do it so I can help other people do it. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Well, that's good. Are you studying that now or?
No. So right now it's just basic business and things like that. But that's something I'd like to minor in at the BU when I'm going in.
There you go. Oh, nice. There you go. That's huge. That's actually, what was your name?
Alex.
Alex, nice to meet you. That's actually huge because I actually just hired a marketing team to work with my barbershop. We've been very busy. I've been getting booked out, which is a blessing, so I appreciate it. But unfortunately, I love my children as well, so I like to be able to spend time at home. And I recently just hired a marketing team, a group of guys, same kind of situation. They came along and they're really helping. I mean, from my SEOs, my search engine optimization, to my social media. I'll be clear, I don't care about social media. I don't care if anybody knows about my life, but my business probably does care. So I have to kind of change it up. So that's good. That'll be legit. Right now, that's a huge area for an industry. Consulting, small business, whether it be marketing, whether it be, so that's good. That's legit. Anything else? Anybody else looking to start a business at all? Oh, well, it's not as bad as it seems, all right? What do I do? All right, I'm a barber, obviously, right? And for that matter, what does a barber do, okay? What does a barber do? He cuts hair. Very good. Very simple. Pretty much, you can't get much easier than that. We cut hair, all types of hair, all right? Now, does anybody know what barbers used to do? Anybody have any idea of what we used to do? If you don't know, it'll be shocking.
Isn't it more like medical? Did they help with, I guess skin disorders and I guess medicine shops back in the day?
Close, very close. It was very medical, yes. That's exactly what the industry of barbering was. So we used to, a barber or a surgeon, I should say, in the Middle Ages, basically we assisted in surgery. We dealt with clients who were going to surgery. First of all, they would need to be shaved, right? Makes sense. Second of all, they would also need to bloodletting, okay? We would help these surgeons drain and replace blood, setting the patient, this is not going well, there we go. Setting the patients up for being able to properly make sure that the blood was administered, making sure that they were, obviously infused with the right blood. We wouldn't want to give somebody OAB. That's probably not good. But that was one of the biggest things we used to do. We did some cupping therapy. There was some other medical things that we used to do as well. But the main thing we really did, and this is a good one too, the main thing we really did was deal with the blood aspect of surgery, right? So pretty crazy. How do you go from that to cutting hair, right? I guess the shaving part always kept it pretty barber style, but pulling teeth, that one got me. When I was in barber school, I was like, pulling teeth? Isn't that what a dentist did? But yeah, it's something that we used to do as well. Why we used to do it? Well, they didn't have all the industries back then. They didn't have all the specialists that they had then. When you went and saw a doctor, you saw a doctor for everything, right? For whatever it could be. Now you've got your dermatologist, you've got your endocrinologist, you've got all different sectors. But back then, you didn't. nor do they work with anesthesiologists as well as they should, but different argument, different day. And then amputation. Obviously, we took something off, hair, but apparently we used to deal a lot with the surgical aspect of working in the medical field, working with the hospital, doctors, surgeons, things like that. So I personally don't want to amputate anything from anybody, but if I was a barber back in the day, I might have had to. So they still did the traditional things. They still did the hair cutting and the shaving and the beard trims and the mustache trims and things like that. But that was kind of the side of what they did back then. That was kind of the least important thing, I should say, that they did. So, so that gives you a little bit of history of a barber. This was then. Now we're now, right? Probably living in the vainest time we've ever lived in, right? I can't even get on Facebook to check on my family without scrolling through 300 selfies. You know, the kissy face selfie, it's cute. If you're two, it's very cute. But modern day, so for us, what we do briefly, obviously, we cut hair, all different types of hair, men, women, children. I have a lot of women clients, you'd be surprised. All different types of haircuts, all different types of styles. Nowadays, it's a little bit harder, but people are very, very much into their facial hair. Obviously, I have facial hair myself. I know most of you guys have masks on, you folks, I should say, but I'm sure there's some facial hair under there as well if we looked. But people are very, what's the term I want to use? They're very particular about their facial hair. Sometimes more particular about their facial hair than they are their actual haircut themselves. Men are a lot pickier than women. I said it. All my women clients are just like, oh, it looks great, love it, you know, good job. Like, you know, we'll see you in 2 weeks. You know, my guys are like, oh, what do you think? Like, what do you think my wife will think? You know, like, I'm going out tonight, like that line right there. You know, like that's my guys for you. You know, what about my stash? You think it's in my face too much? And extremely picky, but that's okay. I like picky clients. I like to think that if you're a picky client and you're coming to me for my services, and this goes in any business you're in, if you got tough clients but they only choose you, that means you're really good at what you do. Because A, they wouldn't choose you if you weren't, and B, if they're really picky and you do it right, the chances of them doing business with somebody else is slim. So don't be scared of picky clients, whatever business you get into, because you'll actually find that they're some of your best. So, and when you get it right, they'll rave about you. So we do, like I say, we work on hair, facial hair trims. We do lineups, which is a little bit different. A lot of people don't know what lineups are, but you know, when you walk out of a barbershop, you got the crisp lines around your face and hairline's nice and sharp. You might need a Band-Aid for it. That is a lineup. That's when it looks good. And I'll show you a couple examples here. We do face shaves, head shaves, bald. I'm talking baby bottom bald, all right? And there's all different types of tools that we use for those types of things, but we kind of cover every aspect of grooming for the most part, above the neck, of course. I've had a couple of people ask me for back shaves, dude. You couldn't pay me enough to shave somebody's back. But we wash hair as well, so we kind of cover it all. Is anybody familiar with the scalp treatment? Familiar with the scalp treatment? So Utah's very dry, as you know. Often people come in and I'm combing through their hair and they got little flakes in there, like, I'm so sorry, like I swear I washed my hair, I'm not dirty. I'm like, of course you are, this is Utah. Utah's very dry, especially in the winter. A lot of the clients that come in have very, very dry scalp. So one of the things that we offer for our clients is the scalp treatment, which basically just allows for us to get in, massage their hair. That's probably what they really want, is a head massage. But it allows me to get in. We rub tonic, skin tonic in their hair. It's really good for the hair and the follicles, and it really helps get rid of that dryness. I use oil sheen and a bunch of other stuff afterward to coat your hair with a bunch of products. But some of the, I guess, intricate things of what I do. I'm sure you guys probably knew most of that, I don't know if you're familiar with some of the new types of styles, but we'll start. Everybody knows who this guy is, right? That's Brad Pitt. No, I'm just kidding. That's George Clooney. All right, he has what I like to call the typical comb over. All right, just kind of giving you guys an introduction to some of the different styles out there. That way, if you ever go into a shop, you know, you can ask for the comb over. You know, I wouldn't recommend it with beautiful hair you have, but we get it all the time. You'd be surprised, right? So that's the comb over. If you ever need a comb over, you can ask for that. Fades is the most popular thing we do right now. Everybody wants a fade. Everybody's an athlete or a rapper or an artist or something, and they want the fade. So we're doing all different types of fades, pompadour fades. This is one of my favorite right here. This is how my hair used to look before I got too nappy, and my wife told me she wouldn't marry me if I didn't do anything with it. So we got it out of our faces. So these are right here. I'll tell you guys right now. These are my most popular haircuts. I did like 3 before I got here. So love fades. They look clean. They look crisp. But this right here, that's that lineup I was talking about right there. See, it just kind of brings everything together, right? Then we have the pompadour, of course. This handsome young fella. Okay, that's like your typical WB Friends haircut, I guess. It's like the Raw special or whatever they call it. But these are some of our most popular haircuts, all right, as a barber. Now, I love what I do, okay? I really do. I love what I do. I get to meet so many different people every day. I get to have so many different conversations. I feel like I have, 2,000 friends. I can call them for anything. They'll answer. They better if they want to get their haircut. But I can call them for anything. And it's probably the least work that I do is cutting hair, right? That's probably the easiest part. Just kind of shows you some of the beards that we deal with, right? I would love to have a Nipsey Hussle beard like that, right? But these are things that we do on a daily basis, okay? Some of the things that we get to do. Obviously, the lineups with the beard trim. Looks so clean. Gotta love it. I know, right? This guy is eerily into cutting hair. But we do all different types of hair. As I mentioned earlier, we went through our hair washes, our scalp treatments, just kind of show some of the processes. Now we're going to get into the fun stuff, right? We're going to get into why you guys are really here, right? Well, what does a business owner do? What does a barbershop owner do, right? What do I do, right? This is what I do. I sweep all day. This is exactly what I do. Literally, sweep all day. Well, my daughter's with me. She can sweep. But so being a business owner, we'll transition a little bit. So I am a barber, yes. But I do also run a barbershop. 2 completely different things. Running a barbershop's significantly harder than actually being a barber, okay? But there's still a lot of joy in it, all right? I don't want to turn anybody off by saying it's hard. You're all in college, right? You're all here. College is not easy, is it? Is it worth it? Absolutely, without a doubt. So real quick, just tell me, what do you think I do besides cut hair? Tell me your name real fast. I'm sorry. Say again? Ryan. Nice to meet you, Ryan. Besides cutting hair, what else do you think I do? Yeah, well, I used to. I have a system that does that now, thank God. Whew. Like, 12, midnight. It's like, hey, man, I'm sorry, this is last minute. Can I get in? I'm like, you guys know I have kids, right? But yes, managing the schedules, yes, I do. Absolutely. Let's see. What else do you think barbershop owner does?
I think that you hire other barbers.
Yes, as hard as that is, yes. Yes, that is important. I'm happy you mentioned that because finding employees, other than being blessed or getting lucky, it's so hard to find good employees, good help. You want your barbers, you want the people that are working with you to take it as serious as you do, right? But you also want them to recognize their position in the company, right? It's kind of a catch-22. When you're just an employee or just a barber, you want to come and go when you want, right? We got a whole group of people waiting, and you You want to go take your lunch right now. Like, terrible time, Ross. They should figure that out. But, it's very difficult to manage personalities, especially when I have girls I work for, young girls, older girls. I've got my salon and my hairdresser in the back. I've got, young barbers, men, all types of, and we've been blessed. I've got 2 barbers that have stuck with me since we opened. But other than that, it's been kind of a fill-in crapshoot. Go ahead. But.
So besides the obvious traits of cutting hair, what attributes do you look for when you're hiring? Like, what stands out to you as most important?
It's a great question. How they interact with people. It's more important than your haircut. I see barbers that are booked out the door and their haircuts are below par. But their clients love them. They enjoy talking to them every day. They enjoy the atmosphere of the shop. They enjoy how comforting it is when they come in. They enjoy the positive attitude, which is huge. That's what I mainly look at, is the attitude. If you've got a great attitude and you're willing to learn and you don't approach it as if you know everything, then I want to work with you because I can learn from you and you can learn from me. To think that you know everything, I've been cutting hair for between Philadelphia and here. I'm from Philadelphia, by the way. Eagles fan, go Birds, go Sixers. Sorry, Jazz fans. Coming from Philadelphia, unfortunately, one thing that I recognized in my city is even though it's called the city of brotherly love, everybody's always upset. You'd be shocked at how often a client will have laughed the entire time in your chair and had such a great conversation that they'll be like, yeah, whatever, it looks great. Like, I'll see you in 2 weeks. They don't even care. You'd be shocked. That's the most important thing to me, is making sure you're humble and making sure you have a positive attitude. Because if you don't, probably ain't gonna be able to work with you very well. So, great question. And obviously you also, like you say, you have to have the skill. That helps. But you don't even really, and I'll tell you why, because any job you go to, any company that you go work for, they're gonna train you. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna train you. Even as a professor, you get a curriculum. You have a bunch of knowledge, but you get a curriculum of what they want you to teach. They kind of narrow it down for you, and you still have to go back and look over the information and kind of each class, I'm sure you have to prep and things like that. So that's also important, very important, I think. But I'd say those are probably the most important things. But anything else? Go ahead. Yes, I do inventory. And we sell a lot of products as well. We have, different hair products, beard bombs, pomades, different aftershaves and things that we sell. So yes, I have to get those products in, order them. You have to make sure that you're keeping track of everything, obviously. It's all scanned in correctly. Luckily, I'm not a grocery store or Walmart or anything, so inventory doesn't have to take me multiple days. Usually only takes me about an hour or so, just kind of go through everything. But yeah, managing inventory is huge. And finding out also what inventory is important to have in stock. If I use it, I'll sell it. If I don't use it very much, then I'm not going to push something that I can't back, so to speak, right? So, yeah, you guys are, you folks are pretty much hitting it on the head. Manage schedules, pay the shop bills. I hate watching that money leave the account every month. But it's good to know that the bills are paid, right? And that includes, and when I say shop bills, that includes more than just shop rent, right? You want your clients to be able to come in and you want your clients to be able to get on the Wi-Fi, right? You want them to be able to have something to do. So we boost up the Wi-Fi for you, for my clients. Employee payroll, so I've got to make sure I pay everybody every week, even if I'm on my honeymoon, so to speak. I've got to make sure everybody gets paid, So that's, if I were a little bit larger, I'd probably delegate that out. If I had multiple shops and I'd probably hire a CPA for that or something like that. But for now, it's just me. So managing product and inventory, like we mentioned. When I started, I know you heard me say I just hired a marketing company. So I personally don't manage our website and online SEO anymore, but I used to. And it was difficult because I'd forget all the time. People would comment on stuff and I forget to, oh, thank you, or I forget to get back in touch with them. So I'm really happy that someone's helping me with that. For you guys, for you folks, whatever business you decide to work for, get into, your marketing is going to be huge. It's going to be majority of your business is getting people to your business, right? So I didn't believe in it at first, but hiring somebody and watching the work that they're doing for us is huge. It's been super busy. I've noticed the changes in a month. I've noticed. I could already tell. We're getting calls nonstop. Our booking is up. Our searches are up. So that's important, though. In today's day and age, it is important. Now, let me ask you guys this quick question. Let's see who can guess this. What's more important, Google or Instagram? Instagram. Okay. Why do you say so?
I think with popularity and just how many different viewers and tagging in your story, it has so much more capability of being viewed, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good point. All right.
I say Google.
Okay.
I also do hair, and when I
Okay.
have a guest in my chair, I ask them where they've heard us from, and we also have a marketing company that helps us.
Nice.
But I'm not the owner, so I can't speak for her, and I don't know which company she works with. But a lot
That's
of
all right.
times it's Google or Yelp. I never have someone come in and say, oh my gosh, your Instagram. But after they've Googled the salon and then they book an appointment with me, then they check out my Instagram. So it's Google first and then Instagram after to come up with like what they want and what I can give to them.
That's perfect. What was your name?
Amalia.
Amalia. Oh, I like that name. That's perfect. That's actually 100% correct. Instagram's very, very important, but usually most folks aren't going to go to your Instagram until they found you already, right? One of the biggest things I said when I was opening up my shop is nowadays people aren't just out walking around riding their bikes up and down the street. We don't do that anymore. They're on, what is the games that they play? Minecraft and all those other stuff. So I don't know. I don't let my 13-year-old do all that extra stuff. So usually they know where they're going before you leave the house. You go to Google and you search where you're going, right? So what typically happens, and she hits it right on the head, what we usually see is people will find us on Google, and then they'll go to our Instagram to confirm that we do decent haircuts. Nowadays, I guess likes are extremely important. Like if people like you, even if you don't know them, so who really cares if they like, right? But apparently liking is extremely important. So they'll go to your Instagram, oh, he's got 150 likes on one of his posts. Like he must be good, right? But Google first. I would say probably 85 to 90% of my clients, oh, we found you on Google. We Googled barbershop in our area and we found your rating and, so that is right. Google first. And that's going to fall under your SEOs, okay? So for any business, your search engine optimization, how can people find you? It's important. If I started a barbershop and didn't tell anybody where I was at, it wouldn't be very effective. So how can people find you? That's extremely important. Now with the Instagram and the Facebook and all these other things, those are just reassurance. So I wouldn't use them as your number one marketing, because most of the time you got to be friends with somebody on Instagram to even see their posts, right? But when they find you on Google and you do a good job, then they go and become your friend. Then they go and follow you. Then they go and tweet you or whatever the kids are doing these days. I'm not that old. I'm only 35. I spent a lot of time with my uncles growing up. So, but yes, and then so we talked about managing the books, right? And managing the schedules and paying the bills. We talked about, if I can get this, payroll and paying your clients, right? They love that money. Talked about inventory and SEOs. This. How do you deal with a client when you can't control the haircut that they're getting, right? How do you deal with that? How do you talk someone off the ledge that wants to come and burn your building down because they walked out of your shop with a bad haircut? Does this happen? Yes, unfortunately it does. Luckily, by the grace, it doesn't happen to us often, but it does happen. Some people, unfortunately, just aren't going to be happy. It's just how it works. How do you deal with an irate client? What's your name in the back, boss? Christian? Yeah, Christian. Christian, nice to meet you. Tell me, what do you think? How do you think you deal with an irate client? What's the easiest way to do it?
Discount maybe, I don't know.
Okay. That's one of the ways. Absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody else? How would you?
Honestly, I think you need to let them get it out first. They really need to just let that lid off and get the steam out, and then you can talk to them and listen to what their actual concerns are. Because a lot of the time they just want to feel like they're heard.
Correct. That's 100% right. A lot of people in general, you guys, me, you out there, you really just want to feel validated. You want to make sure that if you have an issue with something, that somebody cares, especially if you went and spent your hard-earned money to do business with somebody, right? You want them to care about you, obviously, or at least 10, I guess. That's exactly correct. Being argumentative is pointless because they're upset and it's how they feel. You can't argue with somebody about how they feel, whether it's right or wrong. Now, if you feel like the wall is blue, I'm sorry, guys, you're wrong. But most of the time when it comes to these types of things, it's really does you no service to argue with the client because customer's always right, essentially. Customer's always right. One thing that I like to do is I like to let them go off the hint, apologize, and ask them what you can do to make this right. Let them advocate how you're going to make it up to them. And discounts is great, yes, but you don't necessarily just want to throw out a discount because sometimes people feel like you're just trying to shut them up, right? What I'm trying to do is I want to earn you back as a client, right? I want to continue business with you, right? So how can we fix this? What can we do to make it up to you, right? Usually, I hope, usually people love that. I love that when people ask me that. So does that make sense? Makes sense. Pretty cut and dry. But you will get these, okay, no matter what you do. If you're dealing with, well, actually, that's not even true. If you're dealing with other businesses, if you're doing business to business, if you're doing business to clients, regardless of whatever it is, you're going to deal with irate people. And you have to understand how to deal with it. It's nothing personal, okay? It's just business, right? So, with that being said, what does it take to start a business, right? Let me see. Who haven't I heard from? Have I heard from you? Yeah. Okay, I have heard from you. Let's see. What's your name, boss man?
Steve.
Steve. Nice to meet you, Steve. What do you think it takes to start a business?
Drive.
Super.
I really want to get it done.
A lot of drive. You have to believe that it is not only possible, that it is likely and probable that you're going to start a business. You have to be strong-willed. You can't listen to other people. Trust me. You ever heard the term misery loves company? Everybody heard that, right? A lot of people can't start a business. I'm going to be honest with you. People don't have what it takes to start businesses. And unfortunately, there's been a little bit of a shift of mentality lately to where people don't want to do the hard thing, right? They want to do what's easy, Starting a business is not that. So if you like doing the easy stuff, probably not the best way. I guess you could start a YouTube channel. That's pretty easy, right? Real fast, my buddy, his kids was watching a YouTube guy play video games, but he was just watching them. I was like, don't you want to play? I'm confused. When I was young, we were like, oh, we're off the sticks? All right, well, call us in 15 minutes when the game opens back up. I wasn't going to watch you beat the game. How boring is that? But that's the key. You can't be watching on the sidelines, number one. And you can't expect anyone to do it for you. You have to go out and do it yourself, okay? You have to have drive, right? With that drive, you have to have a good idea, right? That's going to be important. You have to have a good idea. I'd like to say choose something that you love. Choose something that you would do for free. I cut hair for years for free. In my house, on a computer chair just like this, with a crate on top of it so I could spin it around and not have to worry about the chair sliding all over the place. And when I first started off, I would do it for free because I enjoyed it that much and I wanted to get better at it that much. So have that drive, but have a good idea, right? Also, better start saving those coins, all right? Because it cost me probably $15,000 more to start my business than I had expected, okay? Thank God for Dad, man. But you have to save. And to be honest with you, this is extremely important because this is the only reason why our business didn't die in the middle of the pandemic, is because we were able to save and save and save. And everything that we made our first year, year and a half, in business, we saved it. If I needed to put a little bit back into the business for things, do so. But your first 2 to 3 years of starting your own business, don't expect to make any money. Matter of fact, expect to lose more money. That's how it works, unfortunately, for most people, unless, I guess, Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. But for most people, for the majority of individuals, save. Because I believe the statistic, and I hate to be wrong, but I believe the statistic is like 95% of businesses fail in their first 3 to 5 years. 95% of businesses. It's pretty much like majority. It's almost majority of people that try to start a business, right? You've got a better chance, I think, to make it to the NFL but save. And I couldn't stress this enough. I tell my barbers all the time, make sure you're putting money away. You never know when a pandemic can come again. You never know when something might pop up and you need to have money. I had a barber chair, had a big guy, bless his heart, in one of my old barber chairs, and he was leaning back to get his face shaved, and the barber chair just broke. It collapsed. Thank God I knew him well and his family well, or I might have been sued. That's when you have to take money and recognize, okay, what do I need? Well, I needed to go and invest in some barber chairs that can hold people 600 pounds, which is what I did. And those are the things that you need. You need to save to make sure you can protect your most important asset, which is your business, right? Your baby, right? And then, along with that drive, you also need to be able to work hard. The thing about owning your own business is if you don't do it, it doesn't get done. If you don't delegate it, it doesn't happen. So you have to be willing to work as hard as you can. And that's any time of the night. If I get a text message at 1 or 2 a.m. and somebody's saying, hey, I'm sorry, it's last minute, I need to get in, it's in my best interest to find a spot for them somewhere with somebody, right? So hard work, hard work, hard work. It's cliche, but most cliche things are true, right? So yes, we love fried chicken. It's true. It's cliche, but it's true. I love fried chicken. But some of the other things to consider when opening your own business, okay? How does one handle a lease agreement if a business requires a physical location, right? Because all different types of businesses are different. Some people, your business, for instance, for business you want to start, you can technically do from home, right? But how do you handle a lease agreement when, and the reason why I bring up a lease agreement is because for a lot of brick and mortar places, you're going to have to deal with someone with a lease, right? You're going to want to make sure you have legal representation to go over your lease, okay? I'm sure each of you guys are smart. I'm sure all of you folks, you're here, you're learning, you're in college, you're taking the opportunity to grow your minds, right? Some of this stuff you won't know. And they put it in there to trick you on purpose because it's liability, right? All about liability. When you're dealing with a larger company or when you're dealing with any sort of property management for anything of that nature, have some sort of legal representation with you, okay? It's the smartest thing you can do. I almost missed a bunch of things in my lease that would have probably cost me a few $1,000s more if I didn't have my accountant and my lawyer look over these things. It could have really got me, okay? So do not assume that anybody is in this business to help you, okay? They're in business to make money just like you are, okay? So remember that, all right? That's my biggest advice when it comes to dealing with brick and mortar locations, right? And does anybody have any questions on that real quick before okay. Secondly, what if you have no sales in your first month, right? Happens. I think I did. Other than my initial grand opening, that first week of Boost, I think the next week it was a big piece of humble pie. I think I got like 2 or 3 haircuts my second week open, okay? Almost was ready to shut it down then, you know? Up, 2 or 3 haircuts, I can't feed my kids like this, you know? Shut it down. But that goes back to saving, right? Like we talked about before. If you save and you manage your money as best as you can, and if you need help, get help. But if you save, these are issues that you avoid. Because your reality is you should have 3 to 6 months worth of money saved in your bank account. So if you made 0 money, you can pay all the shop bills. That's how you have to go into it, okay? In my case, it's the shop. In your cases, it'll be whatever it is that you get into, okay? But it will happen. If you start your own business, you will run into a time where you're slow, and you need to make sure that you're prepped for that, right? So now, you got to protect your baby, right? Got to make sure you protect your business. What type of protection should you have? Is it Amalia? What type of protection should you have for your business?
So we definitely have, in case we get sued, like if I drop a curling iron on someone in their remodel, they can sue me for their year's income that they lose with like big money.
Yep.
Also, we do have a CPA that goes over our like bills I think it's every month or every quarter.
Probably quarterly.
We have like the sales revenue, like all the stuff with the IRS. We also have like workman's comp. So if someone cuts their finger at work, like so I cut my finger really bad. It's actually covered under workman's shop or workman's comp. So I don't have to pay for it. Technically, it was my fault, but still it was at work. So you have to have those things in place.
Yep, there you go. So yeah, there you go. You have to protect, first of all, it always depends on what kind of business you're doing, right? But you have to protect the liability of your business because unfortunately not everybody's honest. And some people do things, scammy things, but sometimes accidents happen. I had an apprentice, I apprentice barbers as well, and one of my apprentices, he was using thinning shears and he cut the ear of the client, right? Thinning shears are extremely sharp. They cut right through this guy's ear, no problem. I felt bad because he had like cut lines, because thinning shears have lines in them, so he had like lines in his ears. I felt terrible. But I had to carry insurance for them, just in case, like when he went and did his medical and got it all cleaned up. Luckily, it didn't require any major stitches or anything like that. But if it did, we had to take care of that, right? And that and the free cuts for 6 months that we gave him. But and he had to come to me now. I was like, nobody else, you're gonna come to me. But you have to make sure you're protected, right? Another one that I wanted to add to that was business interruption insurance, right? If, God forbid, we get a bad tornado and it throws a rock through my front window, and there's glass everywhere and there's, debris and stuff, and we can't cut, we need to have insurance for that. Also, if, something electrical goes wrong and, building, God forbid, burns down, you've got to be able to have the insurance, which we do, that covers, me as a shop, so it pays me a salary as well, in which it also, helps me to pay all my barbers as well, and then it allows us to rebuild the shop, right, without having to, lose more money, right? So business interruption insurance, if I can throw that out there for anything, just have it. It's good, it's not expensive, but it's well worth it. Right, so those are just some of the different ways to protect your business when it comes to a legal aspect, right? Now on the flip side, real quick, just to kind of tackle something, there's other ways to protect your business in a non-legal way, right? For instance, who you hire, that protects your business. If you've got employees that are involved in a lot of drama, if you've got employees that are criminals, so to speak, that can hurt your business, I'm telling you. It's unfortunate. I actually just had a guy, he was working for me for maybe 3 weeks or so, maybe a month. He had so much drama outside the shop that I was getting wind of it from people who, I shouldn't have been getting wind of it from, basically. So we sat down. He kind of gave me the, I don't know, like my 13-year-old does when I ask her why she didn't take out the trash, I don't know. And I was like, look, man, we're adults here. We're serious and we have families to feed and we love what we do and we have a business to protect. And I can't let you go out in the streets acting a fool because people know you and know you work here. And they know, they associate you with our business. So if you're going to be associated with our business, then you need to be posting positive things when it comes to the business. I don't deal with, at my shop, I don't deal with tear down. If you've got something you want to say to somebody and it's honest, that's fine. You can pull them in the back and you can have a conversation. But we're not just attacking. We don't do that. I don't put up with that and I never will. Those are other aspects that aren't often mentioned when it comes to protecting your business. You got to make sure you protect your name. That's huge. And that also comes with the quality of your work, whether it be cutting hair or whatever it is that you're doing, and the quality of your employees. It's just how it goes. Nowadays, you probably know that a lot of companies are actually checking your Facebook and stuff to hire you. They want to know what kind of content are you going to properly and adequately represent our business in a positive manner, help us grow. That's huge. That's going to be, you're going to deal with more of that than you are your insurance stuff, So that's how you protect your business. How can one ensure that a business will be successful? How do you think you can ensure?
Work really hard is one thing.
Yeah, that helps a lot. Oh, yeah.
You have to work very hard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that there's ever 100% assurance.
That is correct. You can't. How do you assure that one's business will be successful? Well, you can't. That's all a part of your work. What you, as they say, you get out what you put in, right? Like Alberto beef jerky, right? You get out what you put in, right? Unfortunately, that's not always the case in business. Sometimes you might have just missed the curve. Sometimes you're in a business that's oversaturated. I know that when I put my barbershop up, there wasn't a bajillion barbershops up like there is now. I think I watched like 4 barbershops go up around me after I was up, What's the positive of that? Well, the positive is people are obviously looking to get their hair cut, right? So more people are opening up barbershops. The negative aspect of it is you're just tearing from each other's clientele, right? Especially when you're in one area, right? So how can you ensure that you're going to be the best shop? You can't. All you can do is work your butt off to try, right? But I wouldn't pay attention to that so much. I wouldn't pay attention to worrying about how you can ensure your business will be successful. I would pay more attention to doing the work and focusing on going through the steps of doing what you need to do to be successful. That's how you get to be successful. And even if it's not in your first business, it might be your second business. It might be your 5th business. I know everybody's familiar with Mark Cuban, owner of the Dallas Mavericks, one of the moguls from Shark Tank. I was reading one of his little memoirs. He worked at a convenience store, was a pizza delivery guy, and what else did he did one other thing. Did all 3 of these jobs at once when he was young, to fuel himself to be able to be who he is now. Would you ever think somebody like Mark Cuban would deliver him pizzas? No, but that's exactly how he got to where he got, being humble and taking anything on as he could, right? So that's what I would focus on, more or less, just going through the motions, okay? Set goals, all right? Use best practices. You won't know if you're getting to that level of success if you don't have goals in front of you. Reachable, obtainable goals. Don't go into business thinking my first year I'm gonna make $250,000. Listen, you're gonna be highly upset, okay? Not to mention you might make that, but your bills might come out to $280. So you're down now, It's important for you to set goals and continue those practices. Pay attention. Pay attention to what's happening in your field. If marketing is switching to, if consulting is switching to a, I don't know, a Zoom-based, thing, learn a little bit about Zoom. You know what I mean? And hair cutting, when I first started cutting hair, fades weren't the most popular haircut. It was gentlemen's, as they call them, or just the comb over. As I, maybe 3 or 4 years into me cutting hair is when fades became the most popular. So what did I had to do? I was already licensed. I had to take myself back to school personally and learn how to do fades the way that everybody else wants them done, right? You got to pay attention to the trends. Now you can pretty much do anything with your hair and it's acceptable. I get people coming in asking for, had a guy earlier wanted like short on the sides, but kind of like long and like, so it's not really a cut specifically, but nowadays you can kind of do anything, but it's important for you to pay attention to those trends so that you can prepare yourself for how to do those things, right? The last thing you want is to be a professional chef, let's say. Somebody says, hey, can you make me a really good hamburger? And you're like, I'm not very good at hamburgers, sorry. Well, you're a professional chef, aren't you? Like you should be good at, well-rounded in food, right? So that's important. That's how you kind of get past the issues of worrying about being successful. You can't worry about that. You just got to strive for it. And if you strive for success, shoot for the moon or shoot for the stars. And if you miss, or I think that's how it is, right? Shoot for the moon. There you go. And if you miss, you'll be amongst the stars, right? So always, always, always pay attention to what's happening in your field. Being the dad of the shop, I kind of get caught up in, I don't listen to all that crap. My guys, oh, you hear this new song by some rapper? I'm like, no, I turned off to that. It's not the same, Is that good? No, not necessarily, because I'm shutting down the ability to learn and to grow. Do I like the music? No, but does that mean that they're a bad artist? Not necessarily. And can I learn from them? Yes, look at their hairstyle. It's popular. You know what I mean? Look at what they're wearing. That's popular. Fashion is, I'm cutting hair, man. Fashion is all over. So got to pay attention to the trends and what's happening now, okay? For any business you're in, right? So any questions on that? Perfect. Thank you. You're being easy on me today. I appreciate it. Now, as you see, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because it is unfortunate, we have a lot of new challenges in our times now. Before, this wasn't something that we would even think about in a barbershop. A barbershop is a very personable place. You're coming in, I'm touching your head, and probably a little bit egregiously, but it is what it is. I've got to, move your face, and I'm moving everybody. It's very personal. I'm in your bubble, I'm in your space. And with what we're dealing with now, with some of the new modern day challenges, it's very, very hard to just be in someone's space, right? And for whatever business you're getting into, that's something you're going to need to think about. Whether it'll be, last time I did this presentation, it was via Zoom, because we're in the midst of the pandemic. So when was that? September, October?
Yeah.
I think was when that was?
Yeah.
So yeah, right in the midst of everything. So we have a lot of new challenges. And in our industry in particular, it's difficult because we had to learn how to cut around a mask, right? Which is crazy. People come in, they have those masks that you wear, like the full face cover ones that pull up. It's very hard to cut hair with those. You're gonna have hair, you're gonna be itchy, you're gonna be upset, you're gonna be grumpy. So we provide masks like that for all my clients. I just go to Costco, get a big stack of them, and for any client that doesn't have the proper mask, or sometimes they'll come in and forget it, we'll just provide masks for them, right? But it creates a new challenge, right? Because now that personable experience, a little bit less personable, right? It's a little bit more, social distance, right? How do you social distance when you're cutting somebody's hair, right? You can't. So what do we have to do? We have to make sure that we're doing everything possible to keep our clients safe, as well as ourselves and our family. So we mask up heavy. I think this is the first time I've been indoors without a mask in a long time. But I'm presenting, so you should probably see my face, right? I want you to be able to recognize me if you see me out in public. But social distancing is very hard. I can't, what am I gonna do? Just What do you do, right? So we hand sanitize like crazy. Okay, we wash our hands like crazy every day. In the morning, after each cut, we wash and sanitize over and over again. We also disinfect our chairs. In between each cut, I've got a Walmart shelf in the back full of Lysol and disinfectant. And after each cut, we all spray out down our chairs, the hand parts, anywhere that can be touched, we spray it down and make sure it's clean, all right? Because we don't want to pass anything, and I definitely don't want to be at ground zero. That's not good for business, right? So it's difficult, it's very, very difficult. And then also we're with face masks, right? You come in, I'll be like, hey, Ryan, how you doing? But now you come with your face mask, I'm like, hey, sir, do you have an appointment? See the difference? It's a big thing, and it bothers me because I like to know all of my clients by name. I like to, and this is something you guys can take as well, but I make it part of my business model to learn my clients, learn their lives for real, to really know their lives and really know what they do. So when they come in, I can be like, oh, how did that test go last week? Or that you had last time? Oh, I passed or I failed, or how are the kids? How your daughter doing? She feeling better? I care about. I'm in your hair, man. Let's be honest. I'm in your face. I should probably care about you a little bit. So I transition that to all of my barbers as well. I tell my barbers, you owe me $5 if you can't tell me your client's name, the walk-in client that you just got. If you can't tell me their name, you owe me $5. You need to know your clients' names. You need to know who they are. You need to know about their lives, their families, what's important to them and what's not. Because A, I just think it's better that way, personally. It's more genuine, it's more real, more wholesome. But B, you feel better. The clients feel better. They love coming in. I get clients that come in, once again, it's a blessing, but I get clients that come in and they just hang out with us. I got a couple clients that get their hair cut once a month, but they're in the shop twice a week. You know what I mean? I just got off work. I wanted to come and see what you guys were talking about today, I'm a little bit controversial, okay? I'll be honest with you guys. I'm controversial. I love a good conversation, right? You know how most businesses, they like to exclude certain things. We don't talk about politics in here. We don't talk about religion. We don't talk about these things. In my shop, it's 100% okay. You can talk about whatever you want. Why would I exclude the two most important things in our human society, which is religion and politics? Those are some of the two most important things. Now, the one thing I do say is you have to be open to everybody's opinion. That's important. You've got to be open to hearing more than just yourself, because you might learn something that you didn't know before that could help you, and that's on any side of the coin. But I allow politics and religion talk. I love it. I think it's great. You find out how much people know. You find out how much people think they know, and then you find out how much people actually don't know anything. So I'm a little bit different in that regard. I know most businesses won't adopt that model, and most businesses won't do it, but my clients love it. They think it's genuine, which it is. I'm not going to stop you from talking about something that bothers you, and I don't care who it is. I don't care, if you're, Muslim. I don't care if you're, if you voted for Kanye West. Doesn't matter. Tell me, oh, you voted for Kanye? Sweet. Why? You voted for that guy. You like that song, huh? I feel you. It's a good album he had, yeah. I believe the album was called College Dropout, though, so probably not the most influential. Maybe you guys shouldn't listen to that. But anyway, I like to be a little controversial. I like to be a little different in my shop. So I open it up to way more controversial conversations than other people might. Hasn't cost me clients yet, not that I know of, so people look forward to that. But you have to find ways of adapting to the times. Times are going to change, rules are going to change, laws are going to change. We have to wear a mask, right? We have to wear gloves. We wear gloves. We did it anyway. Luckily, we wore gloves before, but now we have to, right? So what does that mean? What is all this saying right now, right? It's saying that I'm going to, essentially, as a business owner, me or yourselves, this is saying you're about to spend more money. That's what that means, right? So once again, we back up to the save part, right, which I said was extremely important. You've got to be prepared for these things, okay? I was actually in well, we're almost done here. I'm gonna finish up. But I was actually in Cabo when the pandemic started. I was proposing to my fiance, who will soon be my wife here in 3 months. 2 months. Ah, thank God she's not here. 2 months. That is in June. And when I got back to the shop, like I was out of the country. So when I came back, it was like, they're about to shut things down, right? And I was like, hold on, what? I'm not shutting anything down. Like, they're gonna have to make me shut down, And then like Sunday, I got an email from the health department like, yeah, so you better shut down. I was like, oh man, like I was gonna ignore this, But, I spent 6 weeks, 7 weeks out of a job. I'll tell you guys right now, man, I cried. It's probably the first 3 nights, every night. I thought I was gonna lose my business. It actually kind of makes me feel some type of way thinking about it now. But I thought I was gonna lose everything, and I put everything into this business, everything. And my fiance watched me put everything into it, and she was the most supportive woman that you can ever have, which is why she'll be my wife. But you have to prepare yourself for these things, because they're going to come. The health department can put out a mandate on anything, and if they say it, being as though they're the ones that hold my license, I have to do it. And they don't just hold my professional barber license, they hold my license for my shop as well, which is a second license that I have to get through them. So whatever they tell me to do, I've got to do. Whatever the city of Taylorsville tells me I have to do, I have to do. So does you guys. So does Slick. Whatever they tell us we have to do, we have to do. So you have to prepare for these changes, okay? You have to prepare for any challenge, and mainly that just means having some money on deck, because it's usually just gonna cost you some money, right? So besides this though, the hardest part of what I do is running a business. That's the hardest part of what I do, because those are the factors that I can't control, my employees and other clients, and how people find us, and saving money. I guess saving money I can't control, but we gotta make it to save it, right? So running a business is hard, but if you find something you love to do, it's like you don't work, right? When I have my busiest days, I go in and I cut hair, and do 14, 15 haircuts in a day. I'm racing against the clock, because I have to get these people, out, but they have to look good, but I've got to get them in and out. So I'm not even thinking about work. I'm like, man, that haircut looks great, feel good, next cut. By the end of the day, I'm not even stressed out, or I don't feel beat down, because I don't feel like I've really worked all day. Now, Tuesdays, days I'm doing payroll and doing quarter year ends or quarter ends, and I'm on the phone with my accountant and doing all that stuff. That's when I leave the office and I'm like, man, like, I wish I'd have just cut some hair today. You know what I mean? So my advice to all of you is, if you're gonna start a business, great. You can start a business for money, you can do that. And you may be very successful financial-wise. But if you don't love it, it's going to hurt you in so many other areas that the money is not worth it. You'll end up wasting it on psychiatrists and therapists anyway. So do something you love, and even if it doesn't make you a millionaire, if you're able to pay your bills, have a little bit of extra money, go on a vacation, treat the kids, to something nice, that's all you really need out of life. You don't need to be Bill Gates, because he doesn't look happy, okay? The billionaires I know don't look happy. They seem to always be grumpy. I'm like, what are you grumpy for? You own everything. Focus more on what you love to do and something that makes you happy, and you'll never go wrong, okay? So, simple quote, I'll leave you with this. You look great, and this is how I like to feel about my barbershop. You come in, you leave. If you look great, you feel great, right? If you feel great, you perform great. Once again, if you perform great, then you're setting yourself up for success. All right, so that's our motto. Affiliated Barbers, your confidence begins with us. So thank you so much for having me, guys. I appreciate it.